And also when you're in the midst of a sabotage behavior, so say you are so stressed out, you go unconscious, you start eating whatever it is, or you start overworking yourself, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, now you're in guilt and shame because you just broke all of the habits that you said you were going to stick with. Instead of ruminating in guilt and shame about what you did, oh, identity. My body, a highly sophisticated organism, just brought me back to my former identity. That's all it is. Okay, great. And then that way we get to take the pressure off, we get to take the drama off, and we get to actually work with our body as the biofeedback system of our soul having a human experience on the 3D plane. Then we get to work with the body instead of against it. Welcome to Queen Bold EQ podcast, where I share with you the mindset, energetics, emotional intelligence, and habits required to transform your health and manifest your dream body. I'm your host, Lauren Saracione, a 20-plus year fitness professional, lifelong entrepreneur, and I have self-healed my chronic pain and my emotional eating. And I am here to share with you the spiritual and the practical so you can transform your health and manifest your dream body. Hello. I'm just going to double check here on my phone to make sure that we are all hooked up on Facebook. Awesome. Okay, we're all set. Oh, okay, this is so exciting. So if you are here live, say hello and definitely chime in on the comments so that I can bring them to the discussion of what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So what I want to share with you is that this is the Queen Bold EQ podcast, where I'm going to share with you mindset, energetics, emotional intelligence, and the habits required to transform your health and manifest your dream body. So I'll be your host. I will have guests on eventually, but for now, it's just me, Lauren Saracione. I've been in fitness for over 20 years. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I've healed my body of the chronic pain and tension. I've healed the relationship with food. And then now I'm just kind of skating by to my ultimate dream body. In today's episode, we're going to get into it right now. This is about identity and manifestation. So this is a really important concept for us to understand because this is going to give us a baseline of understanding when sabotage starts to happen in your behavior. So we have sabotage that happens that we're completely unaware. It's an unconscious action that our body could be attracting stuff to us, or our body is rebelling from within, making us sick so that we can't follow through. And so I'll take you through different areas of how sabotage works and how the unconscious mind works in contrast to the subconscious mind. There's a difference there, and not a lot of people are talking about the difference between the unconscious and the subconscious. And so in this episode, this is going to give you a ground floor baseline of what the identity is and why understanding that identity is why sabotage exists. So that way, when you're facing sabotage, when you're feeling that resistance of like, I don't have the strength in me to follow through, or I am so freaking stressed out right now, I just need to eat the whole damn cake. Like when you start to hear the words in your mind of saying how you can't follow through and why something is so hard and you need this emotional outlet of food, that you can refer back to what you're learning here about identity. And also when you're in the midst of a sabotage behavior, so say you are so stressed out, you go unconscious, you start eating whatever it is, or you start overworking yourself, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, now you're in guilt and shame because you just broke all of the habits that you said you were going to stick with. Instead of ruminating in guilt and shame about what you did, oh, identity. My body, a highly sophisticated organism, just brought me back to my former identity. That's all it is. Okay, great. And then that way we get to take the pressure off, we get to take the drama off, and we get to actually work with our body as the biofeedback system of our soul having a human experience on the 3D plane. Then we get to work with the body instead of against it. And I feel like there is a sense of connection to the body, but also a separation of it. So that way our worth is not identified by the body's health or by the body's aesthetic or what the body can produce. And we get to see it as a thing that's letting us know where we are in alignment between our soul that is so much larger beyond our physical human, and if our physical human is on board with that soul purpose. That's what I really feel like it's for. And then when I feel like I developed this separation of it, then all of a sudden there was a deeper reconnection to it and a symbiotic relationship and lifestyle with it. So that's my hope for you. I hope that that seed gets planted in your unconscious and it grows and grows and grows, especially this year in 2023, when I'm delivering 3 episodes a week to you. Okay, so identity and manifestation, done. The identity that we have dictates our manifestation. So the first thing that we're going to go over, I'm going to give you 5 topics today. So this is basically a masterclass. These podcast episodes are basically going to be masterclasses because I need to get this information out to you. It is so new. And so I feel like the episodes is going to give you a new way to look at your body and look at sabotage and energy, and then get you far enough on your journey that you can apply things that you've already done. Like, you've been successful in your business or in your relationships, whatever. If you haven't been successful with your body, that you're going to listen to these episodes and the lights are going to go on and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I get what she's talking about. That's exactly what I did for blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take this insight and apply it to my body. And then whenever you hit that threshold where you can't get it done on your own as a self-study course, reach out to me, join the Queen's Gambit, because that's where we're going to be walking side by side together for, I was going to say 24 hours, for 52 weeks. And I'm going to take you through and give you all the fundamentals that you need of diet, exercise, and self-care, in addition to all this energetic stuff. So that's the plan. Okay, so 5 points today, okay? They're in the show notes, write them down, journal them, whatever. There is 2 parts of emotion, okay? That's number 1. 2 parts of emotion. One is chemical on the physical universe's body, so your physical body, and then the other is vibrational in the non-physical universe. And of course, vibration extends into the 3rd dimension. Yes, we know this, but for the purposes of understanding how identity is working with emotions, I want you to delineate that there is a chemical earth body and there is a vibrational light body. Physical body is chemical, non-physical body is vibrational. And they both are under the category of emotion. And so if you know anything about manifestation, it's our thoughts and our feelings and our actions all have to be going in the same direction in order for us to create what we want to experience in our body or in our business or in our life or relationships, blah, blah, blah. So, hey, Dina, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Oh, yay. So when we are looking at the chemical component of, or the emotional component of identity, because our identity is made up of our brain, our heart, and our personality and our physical body. Identity is the thing that is holding everything that you are in soul as the human aspect in this life experience. So your identity is multifaceted. So when we're looking at the chemical identity of the physical body, these are molecules of emotion. And this is from Dr. Candace Pert. She is a pioneer of emotional molecular biology. So the molecules of emotion that are our identity is coming from the environments that we were in when we were kids, the behaviors that we learned from our caregivers and our peers, and then how we interpreted all those things to give us meaning, to give us the identity. If we did not create an identity and a thought process and a story around all of our experiences, there would be no us. And we would blend into whatever was happening. There would be no delineation of self to have a life experience. So identity is just the thing that we create primarily in that 0 to 7 time frame of just being in theta brainwaves as we were a kid and downloading what's going on in the environment, downloading how our parents are talking to each other, how our parents are talking to us, what's going on TV, what's going on in school, what's the vibe, what's the environment, how do I actually survive and then eventually thrive in this environment where there's so many unknowns. That's the identity creation. So when we have unconscious identities, we need them. If we had to think about who we are every single second of the day to stay in alignment, we would be self-aware. So it's possible most of the time. But my point is, we have the unconscious programs, just like we have an unconscious program to reach with the hand. If we had to mentally think about what bones, ligaments, joints, tendons, what else is there? Ligaments, tendons, muscles, fascia, joints, bone, skin to move just to reach the hand open and then make a fist and pull it back, there wouldn't be a whole lot more room in the brain to think about what you're actually looking to pick up. So the unconscious identity on the chemical component of it is controlled with the brain. And so the brain is going to secrete molecules of emotion that match the identity that 0 to 7 person created about themselves and their place in the tribe, in the collective, in their family, and in the world. So this translates out of our body, out of the physical expression of it. It translates out of the relationship that we have about our self-worth because of our body. It translates into our self-worth and respect and love within relationships, and then ultimately our place in the world as a contributing member of society. So this is big stuff. This is why I needed to podcast again. So this chemical molecules of emotion are secreting from the brain. And when they secrete from the brain, they fill the cells. DNA is in the cells. And so the study of epigenetics with pioneer Dr. Bruce Lipton, he talks about how it is the environment above the gene that dictates the blueprint of the DNA. So if we have degenerative molecules of emotion that are made up of a lot of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and then a lot of negative self-image hormones like guilt and shame and sadness and disappointment and not enough or too much, when those are the chemical cocktail that our DNA is living in, the DNA is going to express itself in the quality of the substance that it is exposed to. So this is why when you look at, stuff to encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle, there was this picture that I saw floating around the internet a lot, like 10 years ago, and it was a square, and it had two lifestyle pictures, essentially, one on top and one on the bottom. One on top, the person was out riding their bike, they were eating vegetables, they were exercising, and then the one on the bottom was eating pizza, playing video games on the couch. And it was talking about the environment. And they're talking about the environment below the skin. What are you doing to your body, and what are you putting into your body that's going to dictate the chemical environment for the genes to express itself? And a lot of us understand this environmental stuff as like, we stopped having BPAs in our plastic, and we're aware that there's Roundup in most of our soil and most of our water, and that causes inflammation and leaky blood barrier problems. So we know about the environment outside the skin, but we don't often think about the environment below the skin, and that's chemical emotion. And the other piece of it is the vibrational emotion. And so we have this huge energetic body that goes beyond the physical body that we can see and smell and taste and touch. It goes much bigger. The equipment shows that a heart chakra a heart can extend 9 feet, but it goes so much further. This is why we have connections across the world where we can think about someone and then they'll send us a DM and they're in the Netherlands and you're in LA. Like, we're all connected energetically. So with the vibrational component in the non-physical universe and how vibration is emotion, we refer to the emotional scale. And so Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, is like, I feel like the person who really brought the emotional scale to the forefront, because we can actually see that there are bigger expansive emotions of love, joy, appreciation, kindness, care. And then there's more lower vibe, condensed emotions of sadness and disappointment, guilt and shame, indifference. And so these kind of like 5 emotional ranges that I just pointed out to you are ranges of experience. So again, we're back to that 0 to 7 human making a meaning about itself, about the body, about its worth in relationships, and about its worth in society. Because those are like our main factors that we get to experience here as a human. So if we have a environment, I don't even want to talk about like an unsafe environment. Like I'm kind of done with like all the unsafety stuff and trigger and all that kind of like low vibe language. Whatever environment our body was in from that 0 to 7 is like a programmed sonar device. And so when our body is programmed with different vibrations, if it was an unsafe environment or if we were made to feel bad, we're going to have a pretty negative self-image and a negative look on the world. And our vibrational body, a vibrational emotion storage system, is going to act as a sonar to look for things out there, the mirror, right? Because it's self-image first, the relationships with other people, and then our career, our place in the world. It's going to look for vibrational matches to confirm who that vibrational identity thinks it is. Thinks it is. It could be reprogrammed if it's not a success-oriented, self-love, self-respect, self-worth program. It can be reprogrammed. I'm evidence of it. So we've got the chemical emotional profile, the molecules of emotion on the earth body. Then we have the vibrational emotional that's more on the light body or the energetic body. Now, let's talk about how those two emotions, emotional functions, chemical and vibration, dictate our eating habits. Okay, so now we're getting into how this is actually showing up in our body, how the identity is manifesting, and then I'm going to show you how to reverse it. Okay, so there's 2 things that I want to share with you of how the eating is affected by the chemical emotion and the vibrational emotion. Okay, these are 2 ways. So see if you can, like maybe take a breath and think about how you deal with food and you deal with yourself and your emotions and your stress. So just like take a moment. Maybe you can see yourself eating. Maybe you are eating right now. Maybe you just ate. Okay. Sabotage. This is really what it's about, sabotage. So let's say that you've been eating clean for a week, whatever that means to you. Clean eating in this context is you following through with whatever strategy you believe to get you your health or your dream body. So whatever that is to you, you've stuck with it for a week, okay? You've stuck with it for a week. And then all of a sudden, you just can't get your favorite junk foods out of your head. You're like, what is going on? Why do I want to eat this? For me, it's these little pastries that have honey on them. It's a cupcake. When I'm PMSing, it's fried chicken. But that's PMS. Like you can't really, I shouldn't even mention that. But I'm just thinking like the things that I really love to eat, right? Is mostly going to be a baked good is what my craving is. Okay. So why is this important? Hang on, I'm getting tangled. Okay. So when we have been eating in a certain way to get to our goal, that probably means that we have not been eating the things that we have put on our bad list or the things that we know we need to eat in moderation, that 20% rule, that 80-20 rule, so that we can make that progress towards our dream goal. Because we all kind of know if we're going to eat 3 cupcakes a day, or maybe even a whole cupcake a day, especially from sprinkles, which I think they're like 360 calories, 40 grams of fat, 60 grams of carb, and like 5 grams of protein or something. They're like really ridiculous. Like if you ate one of those a day, that would just, I would believe, impact your blood sugar. So you would have to make sure that you were eating protein and fiber later on or before so that your blood sugar doesn't spike all over the place and then cause you to need something sugary again to get that blood sugar back up to the level that it was at when you ate the sweet. Like there's other physiological things that are probably going to happen if we were to eat that cupcake every single day, if there was someone out here who has their dream body of a six-pack and they eat a cupcake every day, reach out to me. I want to know your mindset. Thank you very much. DM. My point is that when we're not having the regular chemicals in our body, the cells go into withdrawal. So if you just spent 7 days avoiding your absolute favorite food that you find yourself eating most of the time before you decide to go on a diet, your cells are gonna create, they're an addict. Your identity is addiction. But addiction is just the negative word that we give to like homeostasis or like the need to reconfirm who we think we are. So the cells are just literally empty of what they usually have. And so maybe, this is what I have found, my inner work was based on not being depressed and not hating myself and figuring out things that I liked about myself outside of work. And to actually notice me as the person instead of hiding behind my brain. Because all this research that I've done with science and spirituality, I would kind of just like put on social media all the time to say like, to prove I knew what I was talking about. Instead of just allowing myself to expose myself, my truest self of what this stuff feels like and what my struggles are. I just kind of like put up that like hiding behind a book. So my inner work was just to like myself. Because I knew if I started to like myself, that meant I had to let go of all of the painful experiences that I was holding in my body, causing me to overwork myself to prove myself to people, causing me to overwork my body because I felt like I wasn't good enough if it wasn't perfectly in shape, and causing me to eat to feel better. So my inner work was about liking myself. It wasn't about the dream body when I started this. And so what I found that when I was ready to get my desired aesthetic and create my dream body, and I learned how to work with macros within my inflammation diet, I realized I had to self-generate more positive feelings so that I would not need the food to give me the positive molecule of emotion release. Because I mean, I have like a bunch of cupcakes downstairs that are cut into quarters so that like I can have like a little taste of each flavor throughout the next couple of days. My mouth waters. My eyes like on the inside light up when I'm eating the cupcake because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love sugary buttercream ice cream. I could stick my whole head in an entire gallon of this. Like I love it so much. And then the berries, like they taste so good. They're in my inflammation diet. I should not be eating them, but oh my God, they taste so good. I love this cupcake. I love the whole experience of eating it. So when we are having this love experience with the food that we're eating with our favorite foods, if we want to have a health or aesthetic change, a lot of those foods are the foods that we have to eat sparingly. Or when we eat them, we cannot feel bad about eating them because that's going to program them. So what we actually have to do to combat this addiction that the cells are having is we have to self-generate the good feelings that those foods give us. And it's not even so much that you actually have to think about like, what is it like to eat my favorite foods? And then like have to be like, well, it's this molecule of emotion. It's this amount of endorphins. It's this amount of acetylcholine. It's this amount of oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, like cuddle hormones, like totally secreted when we eat. So you don't have to know what the emotion is. We just have to start getting more practiced at self-generating feel good emotions. Because then if we are practiced at self-generating feel good emotions that those foods give us, our cells will always have those feel good emotions. They will never be empty and they won't trigger a craving for the most part. Cool, right? So the other thing is that the vibrational aspect is going to trigger us to eat our non-healthy foods, whatever we categorize that to be, to get us to feel bad. So for me, the vibrational emotional component of sabotage is that she, because the feminine energetics is the emotion, masculine energetics is the thought. It's kind of like she's poking the bear. Like the vibration is like, I feel insecure. I need to feel grounded. I need to feel full. I need to feel safe. And so when that vibration starts to happen, it's looking to have compound effect. It's looking to have the confirmation in the physical feeling of being human. So if we're feeling very like in our head and flighty, and, you know, maybe we're having some ascension symptoms, maybe we're going through an ego death, maybe we're really excited about something. And then there's like this disconnect energetically where like the body needs to feel grounded again. Or the vibrational emotional aspect is like, this is not who we are. I don't feel safe. This is too risky. We need to put some stuff in our body to weigh us down and make us feel more here. And so more here can be that you're reaching for your edge in your transformation, and this new body that you're about to manifest, because you've been doing your thoughts and feelings and actions for so long. It's just like right here. It's like that meme of the guy with the chisel, with the axe, and he's just about to break through that dirt wall to the diamonds. You're just there to create this new homeostasis of aligned thoughts, feelings, and actions that are going to support your next level body. You're right there. And that vibrational sonar of the emotional body is like, no, that's not who we are. So it'll do the thing to get you to eat. Then you're going to feel bad and guilt yourself and shame yourself. So that vibrational aspect was pulling you back to an identity that has a low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-love, low follow-through, low prioritization of yourself. And also here, so here as in pulling you back to your former identity right before you were going to make that transition. And here as in, let's get you grounded because you're too excited. So that vibrational component is like the Wi-Fi signal to our devices. So once that vibration goes off to trigger the brain to have the matching thought that says eat, then we start to eat. And then we either feel very heavy and grounded now, and then we feel very put back into our former identity because now we're feeling bad that again, we gave into sabotage. We didn't follow through with our goals. You see that? So this is what we're going to do. I have 3 more points for you, and we're going to get into some more defined actions. I've kind of been giving you actions within this, but more defined actions. So the actions that you can take to transform your health and manifest your dream body and raise your EQ, that's important because this work is raising your emotional intelligence, because you have to be self-aware in the process of transforming your health and creating your dream body. So number 1, prioritize your protein. It's usually, if you look it up on the internet, it'll say 0.5 grams of protein to 1.2. I usually have my clients aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I forget what the kilogram measurement is for it, because it's a little different. I don't remember what it is to say it. So prioritizing your protein, prioritizing water, and prioritizing vegetables. Those are going to be like the 3 main things of consumption that's really going to help you, because you're going to stay fuller longer. You're going to have greater fullness, satisfaction, and you're going to give yourself the building blocks of the body, which is protein. So protein's really important. Hydration is really important. Spirit passes through water, and also your vegetables, really good to make sure that things stay moving in your digestive tract. The other thing that I want you to do is eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. Now, there will come a time where you could go into the intuitive eating and you're like, I'm only going to eat when I'm hungry and I'm going to stop when I'm full. That's great. Awesome. Love you. Good job. However, if you have not practiced being self-aware and have not put in and have not been able to get your dream body or change your health, you need some structure. You just need some structure, because that structure is going to allow the emotional components, the energetic components of sabotage to present themselves, and you'll actually have a framework to understand what's going on in your mental emotional field, your mind body, that's causing you the sabotage. So every 2.5 to 3 hours is going to be great. Like, set your timer. You can get the mealtime app, whatever. And this is really going to help you nourish yourself throughout the day, so that at the end of the day, you don't find yourself ravenous or eating out of boredom, which is the next step. So this is point number 4, boredom. Boredom is in the middle of the emotional scale. That means if you are not being self-aware and you have an energetic state of boredom, which could also be interpreted as neutral, if you are not being self-aware, your emotional sonar is going to start to like vibrate and send signals and try to figure out where your body is on the 3D plane. So you're bored. You've already completed all the tasks that you needed to do that day. You've already eaten. Maybe you're tracking your macros. Maybe you just know that you had 3 meals and 2 snacks every 2.5 hours. You know you're fed. And you're like, I can't watch another program. My brain is fried. I can't watch Netflix. It's just like so boring to me right now. Like, I can't even, like, with this, like, nothing looks good to me. Oh, you know, it would taste really good. Oh my God, ice cream and peanut butter. Yes. So boredom, if your body does not have an identity in that moment because it's in a neutral energetic state, that means that there is not like a distinctive molecule of emotion secretion. That means that your body's not vibrating at an energetic rate that you can identify, like sadness or joy. You're just there. So if your body's part of your body's job, the vibrational aspect of it is to know where it is in the world. That's part of that 0 to 7 programming. If you are not giving a directive, an emotional directive, a point of focus, a point of attraction, of love, joy, appreciation, kindness, care, self-respect, self-love, self-worth, the vibration is just going to like send its feelers out there to find wherever the body is. And if it can't find anything, it's lack. So then the brain starts to go into, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm not here yet, I'm not there yet, I messed this up, but oh, you should just have some ice cream and peanut butter, you'll feel better. That's what boredom does. So when I was dieting for my first round of the 6-pack, where I did a reverse diet, I had a 500 calorie deficit the first week, and I added 45 to 60 calories every week after that to reverse diet my way. I did not get the 6-pack at that time. That's fine. That's not the point. When I was sticking to my macros to a T and I hit boredom, I was like, oh shit, I got more work to do. We have to self-generate feeling good, and we have to direct our focus into what we want and what we already have. That is the only way we get through emotional boredom eating. So boredom, when you're in it, you've got to turn the light on the inside and say, I'm at neutral. I'm at an energetic neutral space. You're actually in the void. You are the vessel. You are in the dark night. It is your mind, like all these beautiful lights behind me, that now is like the shooting star. And that shooting star, you know, when you see the shooting star and it has like little fragments of light, those little fragments of light are like your clues to do what's next. It's your thought that sends the signal. It's your vibrational state of gratitude and appreciation and like, fuck yes, I'm doing this. And then it's like those fragments of your thought, those are going to be inspired action as you stay in alignment. This is your intuition. So switch from boredom into I'm a neutral vessel. What do I want? I want to be grateful, and I'm going to envision what I want next. That's how you keep going. So the fifth thing, that was it, is get grateful and dream for more. And so I want you to think about, contemplate who you would be if you had more self-love, more self-respect, and more self-worth. Because those are going to translate into 3 fields of the human experience. Self-love is about you and your connection to self. Respect is, well, I would say that self-love is more of reprogramming yourself from however you got programmed that you're not good enough or that you're too much, or if really bad things have happened to you where your power was stripped from you. Mental, emotional, physical, sexual, psychological abuse. Anytime that you were disempowered, victimized, and made to feel too much or not enough, when we reprogram into self-love, then we're able to access like our high self aspect of our DNA and of our charts. And that self-respect goes to the boundaries that you have for yourself, of just like what you will not do to create more self-harm to yourself. And what energetic barriers are you going to have with the relationships with the other people around you, in your family, in your friends, or in your business or your colleagues? You have to have those boundaries and that self-respect to enforce them. And then finally, with the self-worth, this has to go into the collective and what our life's purpose is / what our career is. Because our career and our life purpose, when they're made of finances, that's going to either go dark into survival and a money and a lack mindset against our basic needs of food, water, and shelter and clothing. And so if we have this negative programming and we don't have self-worth, it has a lot to do with how it's showing up in our career and how we're overworking ourselves, or how we're not actually showing up to the plate. So when I look at self-love, self-respect, and self-worth, that translates into who I am within myself and my body image. It translates into what will I do to myself? Am I going to continue to inflict the cycle of abuse on myself? Am I going to surround myself with people who help me re-inflict the cycle of abuse on myself? And how would I show up in my business and my career if I felt worthy? If I felt that whatever was on my heart to share with people, I could just do it. And I would be following the law of compensation, and I would be divinely taken care of in my human experience. I'd have more than food, water, and shelter and clothes. I'd have vacations and fun experiences and being able to gift things to people, right? So when you're in that boredom state and you switched into understanding you are a neutral energetic container, who would you be if you had more self-love, self-respect, and self-worth? Who are you now that you are so freaking grateful that you put in the work and that you've gone through the trials and tribulations that you've been through, that you've been able to do forgiveness work, you've been able to move on, you've been able to set so many goals and accomplish them. You've been able to show up for yourself when you didn't think you could. Like, get real with yourself, because when we can get real with ourselves, that means that we're no longer operating in our victimized consciousness or our too much or our not enoughness. So that is really, this is one of the things that I understood when I was tracking my macros to a T. in that calorie deficit and that reverse diet, this is what I focused on every time I got bored. And this is why I was able to stick with it, and why why I have the body that I have now, and that I'm like, eventually that highly visible six pack at rest is going to be on my body, within my body. So these are my real world practical tools and the science and the energetics behind it. I hope this was helpful for you. I have a couple of things before it's 11:11. I have a couple of things before we sign off. So number one, go to bodyenergetix.com. That is where you will have a button to come over to our Facebook group, where we are live streaming this where we have even deeper conversations if you don't feel comfortable commenting on my Facebook friend page as I stream this live. Also, Body Energetics is where I will be hosting the 3-day master classes that are free, that I'm doing every month this year. So you'll definitely want to be in that Facebook group. And then also at bodyenergetix.com, there's also an opt-in for my 28-day calibration. This is us meditating. It's a self-study course. It's delivered to you via email every day for 28 days. There is a follow-along YouTube so that you can do the meditation. The meditation is timestamped so that eventually, once you kind of get the gist of it and you feel that activation, you're just going to do it for 3 minutes a day. The meditation is about 14 minutes long. The video, I should say, is 14 minutes long because it gives you the why. And it sets you up in your chakra column and your toroidal field, the energetic field that's around your body. And so then you'll really get into the practice of what brain and heart coherence breathing is all about. It's about programming your chemical and vibrational emotional bodies. You're going to start to secrete positive / regenerative molecules of emotion, of love, joy, appreciation, kindness, care. It's going to contrast the molecules of emotion that you have of sadness, disappointment, shame, guilt, indifference. And this is largely unconscious. So you're doing your unconscious mind-body work here. Vibrationally, same thing. You're going to get into the vibe. Your brain is going to open up. It's going to have better material to work with and create thoughts. Really start to you're going to have the contrast of the self-doubt and the negative self-talk come up and say what a loser you are and how you're never going to make it and how you're never going to change your body and all of those things are supposed to come up. You're making the unconscious conscious. And when you practice brain and heart coherence breathing for just 3 days, 3 minutes a day, you have the carryover in your real life that when stressful things happen, you don't react to the trigger, you respond to the stimulus, and you're able to make decisions for yourself, for your body, that are not harmful. So that's really exciting. I really love that. So check that out, bodyenergetix.com, to go to our Facebook group and to start that 28-day calibration. Thank you so much for being here. This is so exciting. I love you all so much, and I look forward to this year with you, all that we're going to learn and grow together. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found it helpful, please share it on social media and tag me at It's Lauren Saracione and at Queen Bold EQ. You can just search my name, Lauren Saracione, on the IG, and you should find both of those handles, no problem. I'm going to leave you with a few little snippets of the ladies who were in the very first Queen's Gambit with me. The Queen's Gambit is my year-long transformation where I give you all the coaching you need for mindset, emotions, habits, diet, exercise, and self-care.
First of all, thank you for just giving of yourself and allowing us to be in this space today. That's been really amazing to just see how much you're giving to us. So thank you for that.
Because I'm not gonna go shame myself anymore. I'm not gonna go fucking judge myself. I'm fucking over it. I'm so fucking done with that old game. It's just an old game. I'm not gonna play anymore.
Adding upper body has actually been really good. I enjoy it because I've always been so scared of it.
The energetic stuff has been really great for me because I think that's what my soul was craving. I've been wanting to know more, but where do I start? So this has been super great.
new identity, new person, new body.
And it was like I could never get past certain plateaus, but this makes so much sense.
Exercises go really well. It's so much fun to have finally a gym.
I remember because it was so significant to me. That was after COVID. It was really difficult for me to go back because I had gained weight. I felt really heavy after having been lighter, and through COVID and not working out. That day was really nice because you like encouraged me to like continue. When you told me, you're like, you're strong, sweetie, like you can go heavy. And I was like, really? That like helped me just kind of develop that confidence.
And I'm like, well, I'm gonna take responsibility for the mistake, but I'm not gonna like shaming or blaming or judging. It's not gonna help me take the responsibility. It just makes it like harder. So why the F should I? Like make it hard for yourself. Come on.